Hello and welcome to our virtual yoga class. My name is Vanessa and I'm here to support you for the rest of the class. Congrats for opening up this video. It's very similar to what one of my yoga teachers used to say, that Hatha yoga is just getting on the mat. So in this case, we are opening our videos. All right, we'll begin class in a seated position. So you can take a moment to find a comfortable seat. You can sit as I am. I'm sitting on my ankles. That tends to be comfortable if your ankles are open, if your knees are comfortable as well. So you can check in there. I know that this pose is sometimes very uncomfortable for other folks. A good standard position is you're cross-legged. And I always like to emphasize that tendency that one leg is usually more forward than the other, and to switch that out in an effort of balance. As you get to know your body more, you'll start to notice a different sides, right side, left side might be more tense or more sore, more tight or more open. And that is because we have a tendency to favor sides. If you're sitting in a cross-legged position, you're starting to notice your sit bones grounded on the floor. Hands can rest on your knees, palms on your knees, or palms can face upwards. Once again, this is holistic yoga practice, and so we're noticing a lot of subtleties and nuances in the body, including how we position our hands, how we position our arms. The different subtle ways of moving between poses creates a different inner experience. So take a moment here to check in. Maybe you do want to explore something you don't normally do. Maybe it's palms up towards the ceiling. Notice the different sensations there, perhaps more of an openness here. It's very symbolic here to invite an energy of giving and receiving here with palms open. When your hands are on your knees, it creates that sensation of a nice closed container. It's protective, there's a boundary, there's a closed loop of energy. Notice which experience supports you right now. Noticing you're cultivating an ability to presence, to drop into the body and to make informed decisions to guide you from one moment to the next. And start to notice your breath. No judgment of the breath, whether it's short or slow or long. Just noticing what's there, and then start to invite some purposeful breaths. A type of breath that begins with the belly, where you start to notice the rib cage expand. Perhaps inhaling here, exhaling, sighing out. We're starting to notice that our breath is a bridge to the physical, mental, emotional body. To perceive this, it means you have to quiet down, slow down, notice nuance and subtleties, paradoxes in the body. You start to release your to-do list for the day. You practice arriving here right now. Spine is long, porous, active, shoulders relax, eyes are open or closed. If your eyes are open, I suggest focusing on one point, a steady gaze that's helpful to support a steady mind. When our thoughts are fluttery, our gaze tends to flutter as well. Eyes closed for more internal experience. Inhale, exhale, sigh it out. Releasing any physical, mental, emotional tension. 2 more times. Inhale, exhale, sigh out. Inhale. Exhale. Sigh it out. We're going to lift our arms up overhead. Palms up towards the ceiling. Inhale, exhale. Stretch towards the left side of the room. Glutes are grounded onto the floor. Back to center, opposite side. Back to center, round your spine, take your chin towards your chest, palms towards the front. Separate your shoulder blades. Press your palms towards the front. You're lengthening your arms here. And then release. Now, hands on your knees. Lift your chin up towards the ceiling. Hold here. You're opening the front of the throat. And then release your chin down towards your chest. Let your head drop here. Back to center. Take your chin towards your right shoulder. Noticing the sides of the neck here and on opposite side. Start to release your head down towards your chest. Roll your head from one shoulder to the next, either full circle or half a circle. Focus on the neck, upper back, shoulders. Chin towards your chest. Focus on the sides of the neck. Notice any area that feels a little tense. Now, as we move throughout our day, when we're busy with our thoughts, when we're a little stressed of all the things, we're going to tense up around our neck and our shoulders. Take a moment here to release, to open up. If you prefer to work on some meditation, you can bring your head back to a neutral position. Otherwise, a few more breaths. Like to linger here with our neck and shoulders. We can't underestimate how important it is to work on our neck and shoulders. It supports our well-being. You release tension from the neck, shoulders, upper back. Another breath, inhale, exhale, bring your head back to a neutral position. We're going to focus now a little bit on our lower body, around our hamstrings. We're going to lengthen our left leg out and press our right foot against our thigh. So we're focusing on one leg here. You're gonna have a little bend to your knee. You're gonna lengthen your spine. So for a moment, we're noticing what happens when we're purposely lengthening the leg. You can always have a tiny little bend to that knee. And flexing your left foot. So I'm purposely lifting my toes up towards the ceiling, pressing my heel towards what we're calling the front. And I'm lengthening the spine here. My chest is open. So again, our bodies have a tendency to collapse. So right now I'm purposely lifting the chest, pressing my heel forward. You're gonna notice just by doing so, you're already activating and opening up throughout the leg. And now lead down through your chest, belly towards your thigh, hands can reach anywhere, and breathe. Breathe into what's opening. See if you can ease into your boundary. And then see if you can discover a new boundary, holding just a little bit more, using your breath to assist you. So any of these stretches become passive and we're not paying attention to the breath. We're inviting a holistic yoga practice by inviting our breath and breathing into, in this example, the stretch. We can breathe into our strength. We can breathe into our balance. Requires a lot of awareness of multiple parts in our body and our experience. And that's what helps us absorb ourselves in our practice. And it's also that ability to tune into the body and the breath that supports us in releasing stress. And when I'm talking about stress, I'm talking about that sort of stress that is not supportive. I do think there's a healthy level of activity and busyness that is supporting us with our tasks. I think that is fine, but there's a type of stress that might be rooted in undercurrents of anxiety or unhappiness, and it's those currents that don't allow us to reach a little deeper into a new wisdom or illumination. So I do like to make that distinction here. Another breath, and then release. Let's take that right foot onto the mat and invite a twist for our spine. Lengthen our left arm. We're gonna hook that elbow or on that knee. Shift your chin towards that right shoulder. Flex your left foot. Hold. And now release. Now lengthen your right leg. Press your left foot against your thigh. Once again, we're purposely flexing our right foot, heel towards the front, toes face up towards the ceiling. I'm lengthening my leg, lengthening my spine. Taking a moment to check in. Notice what's already starting to open. And now leading to chest, heart, start to fold, belly towards your thigh. Breathe into your boundary. Inhale. Exhale. And then exhale. Release. Left foot onto the mat. Take your right arm out and then twist towards the left. Spine is long. Flex your right foot. Chin shifts towards your left shoulder. Take a breath. Inhale. Exhale, release. Now, both legs are stretched out in front. Start to fold over, a little bend to your knees. Hands can reach thighs, shins, or toes. 5 to 7 breaths here. Inhale, exhale. Try not to constrict the belly. Try not to crunch up shoulders next to your ears. Draw them down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Release. Let's start to shift into our tabletop. Hands right beneath our shoulders, knees, hips width distance apart. Inhale, cow pose. Now, as you're in that cow pose, you want to be purposeful in releasing any compression around the lower back. So we tend to get very sore, a little tense there around the lower back. So take a moment here, lifting your tailbone very purposely, pressing through your palms for support, chest opens. It's all right to breathe into an exhale here in your cow pose. Hold the pose, not your breath. And now we'll start to shift into a cat pose, holding your cat pose, releasing tension around the neck, upper back. So your chin is very purposely shifting towards your chest. Inhale, exhale, release. Now start to move at your own pace, cat and cow pose. Either moving with each breath, cat and cow, or remaining in your cat or cow an extra couple of breaths. Something I like to emphasize in a holistic yoga practice is that any moment you can to make those modifications that make this practice your practice is a very critical wisdom and understanding to focus on. So as you're near the cat and cow, you can determine whether you prefer to hold the pose or move with your breath. Sometimes that question of learning how to move with your body is a very easy answer, yet it feels very complicated. We might complicate things, that things have to look a certain way. It's just as simple as deciding to hold a pose a little longer. That's you trusting and knowing your body, yourself. Two to three breaths wherever you're at. Start to release your tabletop. Press your left palm onto the floor. Lift your right arm up towards the ceiling. This is a stretch that shifts into the side body, shoulder up the length of your arm. Take that shoulder back and then release. Opposite side, left arm reaches up. Inhale here. And then exhale, release that hand, lift up, downward facing dog. You're pressing through your palms, bringing your chest closer towards your thighs. Inhale. Exhale, take a few breaths here in your down dog. You can pedal your feet back and forth. Inhale. Exhale. Now take your gaze between your hands. Walk or jump up to that forward fold. Hands to shins. We're going to inhale halfway up. Exhale, release, soften your neck and head. We're going to roll up slowly. Head is going to come up, last arms dangle. Notice that physical sensation of letting go. And contrast as you come into an active mountain pose. You were just in that space of letting go, and now you're active. Mountain pose with palms facing the front. Fingertips wide, your gaze steady across the floor or room. Check in with your breath. Inhale. Exhale. Start to take your hands out behind you. Interlace your fingers. Either palms touch or they don't. Draw your shoulder blades closer together. So I'm lengthening my elbows. Shoulders are drawn closer together. Lift your gaze up towards the ceiling. Exhale, bend your knees, fold down, forward fold. Soften your neck, your head. Shoulder blades stitch closer together. Please be mindful of your neck. Soften your neck, your head. It's a good practice of letting go here. And now hands towards your shins, 3 rounds. We inhale halfway up. So when I breathe, when I say halfway up, I'm stretching my hamstrings. I'm releasing compression in the lower spine. My back is long. My shoulders are away from my ears. When I exhale, release, I soften my neck, my head. So it looks simple, but you want to be aware here of your heels, your lower back, a soft neck as you fold down. You want to sink up, inhaling halfway up, exhaling, releasing. After you've released, we're going to roll up slowly. And I say slowly, there is no rush, no hurry. So something our bodies are remembering. They're remembering what it's like to feel, what it's like to not rush. To know you have all the time in the world to return to your body, to come into this present moment. Noticing that as we welcome our breath, we're welcoming our experience. Again, we're hitting that physical, mental, emotional, holistic side of a yoga practice. Now, inhale, lift your arms up, palms up towards the ceiling. We're going to lift your heels halfway or all the way up and hold. Steady gaze, steady mind, feeling that belly and ribcage expand. Inner calm as you balance. Breathe into your balance. We'll ground that energy, heels on the floor, bend our knees, chair pose, hold your chair pose. You're firing up your glutes and your quads. Inhale, exhale, release down towards the floor, soften your neck, your head. 3 rounds, we inhale halfway up. Exhale, release. Distribute weight around your heels. Exhale, release. 3rd time, inhale. Exhale, release, very purposely, slowly roll up to standing. Noticing your relationship with time. Welcoming your breath. This time, let's take a mountain pose with hands in front of our hearts or chest. Noticing the different experience here when our hands press against each other. Left hand press against right, right hand pressing against left. Inhale, exhale. Noticing that inner stillness. If your eyes are closed, open your eyes, release your hands, and then we'll prepare for our warrior one. Now from our warrior one, we're going to shift into a warrior three, a balanced pose. So be prepared for that. And so your left foot will shift forward. So this will be that left foot you balance on. Your right leg steps back, right foot is in a diagonal. This is the leg that you're going to lift up when you move into a warrior three. Now, the connection between warrior one and warrior three is your hips. In warrior one and three, your hips face forward. You have a 90-degree bend to your knee. In your warrior one, you're already ready and prepped for your warrior three, which just means you're going to be tilting your torso down as you lift that right leg up. So first, ground through that warrior one, hands in front of your chest or hands, arms lifted. Chest is open, heels are strong, grounded on the floor. Your legs are these scissors attempting to close, but they can't. You're engaging that right glute. And left glute. Now start to take your hands in front of your heart center, simultaneously lift your right leg. Hold here. Takes a lot of opening here in the glutes and the hips. Strengthen the core, strengthen the glutes and quads. Feel free to step in and out of this pose. Keep your gaze steady, and then release your hands down towards the floor. Lift that right leg as high as you can. So my hands are beneath my shoulders. I'm lifting my right leg as high as I can. I'm dropping my belly towards that left thigh. My neck is soft. Right foot meets that left foot. Inhale, halfway up, 3 rounds. Round with your breath. After those 3 breaths, slowly roll up to standing. Head comes up last. Either hands framing your chest or hands in front of your heart center. Take a breath that begins at the belly. And then after that breath, release. Warrior one, mentally preparing yourself that you're going to shift from warrior one into warrior three. Right foot forward, left leg steps back, 90-degree bend to your knee. A critical component here is that your hips are squared towards the front. Core is active. You can take your hands in front of your heart center, lift your arms up overhead in different expressions, palms touching or hands separated. Middle and thumb touching. You're grounding through your feet, legs are active. This is a pose of strength and stability. It's a warrior pose. One more breath, inhale. Exhale, hands in front of your heart center. Start to lift your left leg simultaneously. Drop your chest. Drop your chest, or eventually your head, your chest, your leg are parallel to the floor. Keep your gaze steady. Hands can remain in front of your chest. You can bring your arms out like an airplane or out in front of you like a superhero. Inhale. And then exhale, start to drop your hands. Make sure those hands are directly beneath your shoulders. Lift your left leg as high as you can. Drop your belly down towards your thigh. Soften your neck. Left foot meets that right foot. Inhale, halfway up, 3 rounds. And then after those 3 rounds, roll up slowly up to standing. Once again, returning to this present moment. Noticing your relationship with the present moment. Is it easy? Is it difficult? What is it like today? Hands framing your hips or hands in front of your heart center. 3 breaths. After those 3 breaths, release your hands and sweep our arms up overhead. Exhale, bend your knees, fall down, forward fold. Sun salutation here. Hands to your shins, inhale halfway up. Exhale, release, step back into your plank pose. Hands beneath your shoulders, core active. Release down towards the floor. So as I lift up into an upward facing dog, I engage my glutes. Tops of the feet are on the floor. Shoulders are away from my ears. Curl my toes, downward facing dog. Inhale here. Exhale, remain in this downward facing dog. Breathing from your fingertips to your toes. Now, little mini vinyasa here. Shift into plank pose. Release down towards the floor. Inhale up into your upward facing dog. And then shift up, downward facing dog. So we've just completed this round. We're gonna move through 3 more rounds, creating your own personal rhythm. I'll still cue, but you can move a little quicker or a little bit more slowly. 3 more rounds. Round 1, plank pose. So ideally you're exhaling as you're releasing down towards the floor and inhaling up into an upward facing dog, and then exhaling into a downward facing dog. You can take a breath or 2 here. Second round, plank pose. Release down towards the floor. Inhale up into an upward facing dog. And then exhale into your down dog. And then third round, plank pose. Release down towards the floor. Inhale up, upward facing dog. Exhale, shift into your downward facing dog. And then once in that downward facing dog, hip opener and core workout. Lift your right leg, bend your knees, stack your hips. Chest moves towards that left thigh. Ground through your palms. Right knee moves towards that right elbow. Hover here. And then lift your leg back up again. Bend your knee, stack your hips, and hold. Take a powerful breath here, and then release your foot back down towards the floor. Invite a generous breath. And now lift your left leg, bend your left knee, stack your hips. And now left knee shifts towards that left elbow, hover. And now lift your leg, bend your knee, stack your hips. Release your foot back down towards the floor. From your downward facing dog, we're gonna hold a plank pose. Inhale here, exhale. Lift your core up towards the ceiling. Lift back up, downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. Second round out of 3. Shift into your plank pose, hold your plank pose. Glutes are engaged, core is active. Use that upper core strength to shift back into a downward facing dog. Invite a generous breath. And now third round, plank pose. Hold your plank pose. See if you can stay there an extra breath or 2. Inhaling, exhaling. Full body strength, not forgetting your breath. And then from plank pose, release all the way down towards the floor, belly on the mat. From here, you have 2 options. You're going to shoot your fingertips behind you, palms facing each other, or interlace your fingers and then draw your shoulder blades closer together. Your feet will float off the floor. Use your breath. Inhale up. Exhale. Release. Once again, inhale up, engaging your glutes. Exhale, release. Be mindful of the lower back, mid back, upper back. Lots of core strength here. 2 more times for a total of 5. Inhale up. Exhale, release. On that 5th round, remain there. An extra breath, 2 or 3. Just depends on the endurance you're working with. And then release the pose. Release your cheek onto the mat. Let your shoulders roll forward. Purposely soften the body. You're not holding your body up anymore. We appreciate these moments of being active, but we also appreciate specific moments to cultivate that ability to soften and let go. As we do that physically, we learn to do that mentally and emotionally as well. See if we can invite 3 intentional breaths. Notice 1 breath, the 2nd breath, and the 3rd. Be mindful of your 2nd breath. And 3rd breath. And then 1 more round. We'll start to shoot our fingertips behind us or interlace our fingers. Feet float off the floor. 5 rounds. Inhale up. Use your breath to help find that lift, and then exhale, release. Lots of core strength, lots of opening in the lower back, mid back, upper back. Glutes are active. 5 rounds. Making sure that those shoulder blades sit closer together as you lift and fall. Now on that fifth round, you want to hold here. You're activating a lot of core strength here, a lot of full body strength, but lots of core strength. Hold the pose, an extra breath, 2 or 3. Just depends on what you're working with on endurance. And then after those breaths, please release your cheek onto the floor, perhaps the opposite cheek than you did earlier. Again, in an effort of balance, noticing how we tend to favor certain sides. And then very purposely soften neck, shoulders, down the spine, noticing that that's a specific practice. And then also notice your body is relaxed, yet you can remain attentive, aware, and focused. And then start to invite 3 intentional breaths, inhaling, exhaling. Notice your second cycle of breath and third. And then start to take your hands to frame your chest. We're going to shift up into an upward facing dog, engaging our glutes, and then shift back down into a child's pose. Knees close together towards the edges of your mat. We're going to invite a more active child's pose, taking our right hand towards the left corner of the mat. Hold here, stretch around that right shoulder. And release. Now your left hand reaches the right corner of the mat. And release. Start to shift out. We'll take one breath in your child's pose. It's inhale here, receiving anything that supports you. Exhale, release. Release anything that does not support you. You can shift out of your child's pose, grounding your hands onto the mat. And then shift. And we're not going into a cross-legged position. We're going to immediately move into both soles of the feet touching. Leading to your chest, start to fold over. Breathe 5 breaths. Breathe into your boundary. Inhale. Exhale. And then release the pose. Start to lengthen your legs out. We're going to activate our core. Palms face up towards the ceiling, chin towards chest, release. Find a point to hover and hold, chin towards chest, glutes and quads engaged.
release. Let's inhale here, exhale, sigh it out. Generous breath, inhale. Exhale, sigh it out. Bend both knees, feet float off the floor, hands towards your knees, rock to the left and to the right. Plant both feet onto the mat, palms on the mat. And so we're going to press gently onto our heels and lift our hips just a few inches off the floor and hold. Inhale. Exhale. Release. Take a breath. Inhale. Exhale. Second round, lift your hips a little higher and hold. Engaging your glutes here. Exhale. Release. Take one breath here. On this next round, we're going to lift our hips as high as we can. We want to release throughout the lower back. Strengthen throughout the glutes and the quads. We're stretching through the quads as well and the abdomen. Hold here. We have access to full diaphragm breathing. Invite a deep and powerful breath here. Release your hips back down towards the floor. Soles of the feet touch. Rest your hands on your belly, your chest. Soften down the spine, hips and knees. Scan your body and then see where can you physically let go? Where can you soften a little bit more? Even though you're in this pose of softness, of relaxation, where might you be holding on to some tension? You have access to your full diaphragm breathing. Remind yourself what the experience is with your full breath. Notice what parts of your full breath is easy and what parts are challenging. Notice it takes a lot of concentration to follow one long breath after the next long breath, and then the next. See if we can focus on 3 powerful full diaphragm breaths. These are the breaths you can go back to throughout your day to reset, to arrive to your body, to ground. After those 3 breaths, you can let your breath go back to its natural rhythm or continue these deep, long breaths. You can start to release the pose and shift into the final resting pose of the class, or Shavasana. A pose that gives us the opportunity to let go, to let come, to integrate our practice, to notice the wisdom of slowing down and doing nothing. It's a pose that's easy and challenging at the same time, as it offers us so much stillness. Soften your forehead, jaw, neck. Down the length of your arms to your wrists and fingertips. Release the upper back, mid back, lower back. Soften the hips behind the knees down to your ankles and toes. Observe any thoughts and sensations without judgment, just notice. Breath can go back to its regular breathing, or you can practice some long intentional breaths. Start to shift your attention back to your breath. Inviting a generous and leisurely inhale and exhale. You can invite a full body stretch, lifting your arms up overhead, pointing your toes. You can turn your body to the left or to the right. Once again, inviting a generous and a leisurely breath. The very particular type of breath where you welcome this moment with love and compassion. Once again, invite a generous breath, a leisurely breath. And then after a moment or two, start to shift into your seat. As we began class, either in a cross-legged position or sitting on your ankles as I'm demonstrating. We'll take a moment to notice the effects of the practice in our bodies. Eyes closed or open. We'll seal the class with a compassionate breath. Let's take our hands in front of our heart center. Here, we honor our experience by welcoming our breath. Let's inhale here and exhale. And in the tradition of yoga, the highest in me sees the highest in you. May we walk with each other in gratitude.